Hello, everybody. Welcome. This is the level 2 recording for February 6th already, 2019. This is the early part of the year semester. This is Cheeky the Boss has decided to join us for level 2, which she usually does. And the topic for today is an advanced understanding of the Merkaba. So this is lesson 7. And we don't get into on level, this is level 2. We don't do the Merkaba in level 1 until lesson 11. So if you are a level 1 participant and you don't yet know what the Merkaba is, don't panic. And this is the one-room schoolhouse, so it's totally cool for you to, be exposed to information that may be slightly more advanced than what your understanding level is, and then you will reintegrate it as you learn the basic stuff. So first of all, what is a Merkaba? It is a star tetrahedron shape. I didn't make this. This is kind of just from a little gift shop. And it gives a pretty good idea of what it is. It's 2 interlocking tetrahedra. A tetrahedra is an equilateral pyramid that is made out of equilateral triangles. Oh, something just happened. I'm sorry. I clicked on something. I don't know what I'm doing here. I picked up my thing. I clicked on something. Let me go back to here. Hope everything is okay. Everything is fine. Everything is wonderful. Good. Okay. All righty. Hold on a second. It's this thing that I clicked on. I want to show you what a tetrahedron looks like. Hey, you're a good girl. So the pyramid at Egypt, what we call the Great Pyramid, is not a tetrahedron. It is a pyramid that has a square bottom and has 4 sides that are made out of equilateral triangles. So a tetrahedron these are equilateral triangles, meaning they all have equal length sides and they all have equal angles. And the angles of a triangle must add up to 180 degrees. So 180 divided by 3. Let's do a little bit of simple math. What is that, everyone? 60 degree angles. And these 60-degree angled triangles, these are like the basic building blocks of physical reality. These are like the hexagonal shapes of a honeycomb. These are the hexagonal shapes and angles of a snowflake. These are the hexagonal shapes and angles of our physical multicellular structure. But our physical structure integrates with a time structure that has different angles, including 90-degree angles. So let me start off. Are you doing okay over here? You're doing great. I'll just show you what happens when I fold this up. So I have 4 equilateral triangles, and when I fold them up like this, try to do it with one hand so I don't disturb the boss hanging out over here. You go, girl, honey, I love you. This is what you end up with. So you can see, magically, all of the sides are the same, all of the angles are the same. Now I gotta kind of, you balance there, because I got 2 of these I gotta kind of get together. So the Merkaba is created by 2 of these guys, and they interpenetrate and they counter-rotate. So these are made of solid objects. They can't interpenetrate. So just imagine that they are overlapping one another perfectly, like over like this, and I'll show you images too. And so they interpenetrate and they counter-rotate. So that means is while one spins in one direction, the other one spins in the other direction. And the direction of the spin is individual to the person, and I think it is based in what your natural gender is. So I will only tell you my experience of being a woman in a female body. This is this is a bit of recap for the advanced students and probably something new for the new students. Upward pointing pyramid, downward pointing pyramid. These have 2 different qualities. So we will begin with the upward pointing pyramid. This is the one of specificity. If we were to assign to them genders, even, the philosopher Walter Russell was big into that, but I'm not big into that. But if you wanted to, this would be considered masculine. It is forceful. It is definite. It's specific. And so what is the use of the Merkaba? One of the uses of the Merkaba is for reality manifestation. And when we use these 2 aspects of the shape, in this shape, we put specific desires. So I usually use this example. If I'm wishing for some dessert, I'm like, I want it to be Cherry Garcia ice cream. I want it to be in a blue dish. I want to have it on Tuesday, and I want my friend, Sally, to give it to me. And those are like very, very specific things. And then this is the receptive pyramid. So we would call this female, even though, again, I'm not about male versus female. It is receptive. This one is definite or aggressive or reaching out. This one is receptive, allowing in. And with this, I say, well, I want something that's cold. I want something that's like a sweet dessert. I want something that feels like celebratory or like a, a birthday party, something fruity. I'm not putting specific things into there. Specifics went into here. These are generalizations, intuitive feelings, receptive feelings. And then when I get them spinning in their counter-rotating fields, that's like pressing run on the program. And what ends up coming back to me, this is energy that I'm sending out, what energy comes back to me is a mix of the two. Some of the specific requests from this and some of the receptive requests from this. So if I put my energy together, I spin my Merkaba, I then go out into reality. And maybe I don't get that ice cream on Tuesday. Maybe I got it on Wednesday. Maybe it didn't come in a blue bowl. Maybe it came in a purple bowl. Maybe my friend Frank gave it to me instead of my friend Sally. And maybe it was frozen custard instead of Cherry Garcia ice cream. But the point is, I made the request to the cosmos. I pressed run on my program, and then this is partnership. This is cosmic partnership to see what flows back. It's very, very different than if you just say, I'm number one. I'm looking out for number one. Remember I did this last week? I want my desires. Give me what I want. And you don't respect your partner. Then you might get what you want, but you don't necessarily get it in a nice way. And if you do this thing where you say, well, I make these specific requests, but then I'm also open. I'm open. Maybe I'll get exactly what I wanted, but maybe in a different time frame than what I thought, or maybe from a different person than what I thought, or it might be something good. Maybe you've never had frozen custard before. Maybe you only wished for a flavor of ice cream that you have ever experienced because you could not imagine what it would be like to have something you've never experienced. So being receptive means that you are open to the possibilities of something that you couldn't have imagined. There's a little bit of chef's choice in there. Because if you go into the restaurant of the cosmos and you say, I know exactly what I want. It's going to be this, this, and this. But then there's like chef's choice. You know something? Like the pizza's actually fresher today than whatever, beef bourguignon, so get pizza instead. Like you have to look at what are the best options on the menu. So this is partnership with the cosmos. I'm not a transhumanist, but it's kind of like being a computer programmer. And so let me go to some images too. Wait, first let me show you. So this downward pointing one, when I envision this surrounding my whole body, I envision this point as sticking out from my chest. And when I press run on my program, I spin it around to this direction. Oh, no, sorry. Yeah, I spin this around to this direction, to my left, out of my chest to my left. And this one that's pointing upward and is definite has a point that is sticking out behind my spine. And I spin that one around to the right. So if you ever watch me do my Flying Rainbow Lasagna dance, you might notice that I begin with this motion. And that is my little shorthand of saying, hey, I'm creating this energetic immune system. And I'm first spinning it around to this direction. I'm next spinning it around to this direction. So that's the first thing. What is Merkaba? It means light body vessel. And it is, got a loud thing outside. Wait, one moment. Loud thing. Sorry. Oh my goodness. Loud thing outside. Okay. Good. It's all done. Now I can show you this animation. Hold on a second. Let me go back to here. Rearranging my screen as the loud thing was going by. Merkaba means light body vessel. So this is information that comes to us by way of the ancient mystery schools and other esoteric traditions from, Earth's history. But all of those traditions were holding valuable puzzle pieces of information that were held in trust for this time from ancient Atlantis. So in ancient Atlantis, this was taught to everybody, like you teach little kids ABCs and 1, 2, 3s. Everybody learned how to create a protective Merkaba around them, just as like part of, basic life. So wait, let me go to screen share. Now that I've rearranged my screen properly, here is a wonderful animation that is, it's original. I'm not the animator. I drew the sketches and made my request to the animator, and then they actually did it. So this was like a collaboration with a professional animator. So first, I'm just going to show you And also because this is all moving stuff, so it's a lot easier if I show you the animation here. It should be coming up soon. It's just taking a minute. Hold on. Sorry. Let's get this going. Okay, so here's a person sitting. I usually do sun gazing while I do this too, so that I get lots of good energy. And here is the beginning of the first, wait, let's press pause. So this is the first thing to envision in terms of creating the Merkaba, the upward pointing pyramid. And I don't know if you can see effectively on this, but I envision it where it has a flat facet in front of my face, like you're looking out a window. And there, if you do that in that way, then you have one of the spokes or points is pointing out behind your spine, okay? And then envision the complementary tetrahedron that points downward and is receptive, and that should come up soon. Oh, okay, wait, this animation shows them spinning around first. So wait, there we go. So what I do is first imagine a static pyramid pointing upward and a static pyramid pointing downward, and then I get them both spinning. And as I imagine those two static pyramids, I put requests into them. As I imagine the upward pointing pyramid, I put the specific requests of what I want. And as I put the downward pointing pyramid, I put the receptive, non-specific requests of what I want. And then when I actually get them going, that is like pressing run on the computer program. And then you are in cosmic partnership with the sun and the stars and the great composer and the great conductor that are making all of this happen. So this is part of like becoming a jazz musician and gaining the capacity to effectively, innovate and work in partnership with the other organisms that we're living with. Okay, so there you go. This is big. Wait. So how fast, Aurora, how fast do I got to spin my Merkaba? And the answer is it's individual to each one of you. It's like asking, how fast do I have to spin the bicycle wheels of my bicycle in order to not fall over? You will figure it out. You'll know that you're doing it right when you feel this column of light that comes down through your spine, from your base of your spine through the top of your head, and connects these two vertices of the shape. And you should see that come up on the animation now. Okay, good. So you see out through the top of your head, out through the base of your spine, and connecting to the top vertex up here, and the bottom pointy vertex down there. That column of light tells you that you have reached the optimum speed of spinning. And I'm going to draw this out too, but you also start to see how the shape changes as you're spinning. And then so all of that, I should speak better. There's 3 different basic things that you can do with your Merkaba. And in level 1, I say, hey, the first thing that you can do is learn how to use this as an energetic immune system to block out the crapola that you don't want to have come inside of you and allow good stuff inside that you do want inside of you. So we've got a wonderful epidermis in our physicality, and we've also got an immune system in terms of pathogens. Let me just drink. And our immune system and epidermis keep out harmful microbes, but allow in nutrients and water and the things that we need in order to sustain our existence. And the Merkaba is the exact same thing on the level of energy and consciousness, that we wish to have a nice, healthy, energetic immune system that blocks out the unhealthy, pathogenic consciousness, aspects, and allows inward, healthy, loving, nourishing, nutritive consciousness aspects. So that's the first thing that you develop when you're cultivating your Merkaba. And the second thing that you develop is, like what I just said, cosmic wish-making. Your specific desires, your receptive desires, and partnership with the cosmos. And if you just did those 2 things, I think I said this in the intro for this week, that would be like me giving you a very limited recipe, like grandmother's strudel. Be like, you take some apples and you chop them up and you throw them in a bowl, and you just, you mix up some water and some flour and some yeast, and you just kind of roll it out, and you plop the apples on, and you stick it in the oven and blah, blah. Like I gave you a very limited, very generalized recipe. So the truth is, to make the strudel properly and really get somewhere, you have to do this whole extensive process. You have to knead the dough, then you have to let it rest, then you have to knead, then you have to rest, then you have to put flour on the table, then you have to do this whole process to roll it out so that it's paper thin, you got to brush with butter, you got to do a lot of stuff more than just, oh, you throw it together and, kind of throw it together. Same thing with Merkaba. Merkaba, over many thousands of years, secret societies are just like, you just throw the apples in a bowl, you just do this and that. It's like basically you're only getting part of the recipe, you're not getting the full technique, and it only allows you to run on the hamster wheel. I mean, it's good to be able to protect yourself, don't get me wrong. And it's definitely good to be able to make some wishes, but that's not the whole enchilada. And the whole enchilada is traveling interdimensionally. Level 2, this is about how to use Merkaba to travel interdimensionally with the caveat, please master the level 1 stuff before you try to travel interdimensionally. So that means have a protective immune system first, figure out how to be in partnership and rapport with the rest of the musicians and manifest the things you want to manifest, then travel interdimensionally. So the final aspect of traveling interdimensionally is when this star tetrahedron transformed into an octahedron. So tetra means 4, octa means 8. You guys are smart. You know that 4 plus 4 equals 8. What we do is transform the present arrangement of sides and angles into a new arrangement. We don't add or lose energy or matter, which is just like saying if I have a disarranged Rubik's Cube, this thing is all crazy caca cuckoo. In order to fix it or solve it, I don't have to take pieces away from it. I don't have to add pieces to it. It's got everything it already needs. It needs to be rearranged. So this is exactly what the same type of thing in terms of rearranging the shapes of a star tetrahedron into an octahedron, octa based in 8, 8-sided shape. And I'll show you how to do that in reality. So just look at the animation first. Now we begin to rearrange from star tetra to octa. Tetra, 4, octa, 8. Tetrahedron is 2 of these pyramids into 1 of these octahedron shapes. And it is a leap of perception. So now, wait. Stop share. Hold on a second. Now I want to find a particular, I'm going to squint and scroll. Let's see if I can find it. There's an optical illusion that I'm looking for that I have meticulously saved, like all of my files. Okay, hold on a second. Now I'll go back to show you a picture. So this over here is a rather famous optical illusion. And if you look at it through one viewpoint, you can see that it looks like an old lady with kind of a big crooked nose and a pointy chin wearing a babushka, kind of like a headscarf somewhat in profile. And then if you look at it in a different way of interpretation, it looks like a young woman, and like she's mostly turned away from the camera. And so you kind of see like her jawline, a little bit of her eyelash, and it looks like she's wearing a feathered hat. And the difference between seeing it as the young woman or the old babushka woman, we're not erasing anything. We're not like erasing lines. I'm not adding things. Don't take out a magic marker and redraw the whole thing. It is all a flip-flopping of your perception. It's the same exact set of lines that you interpret one way or another way, dependent upon your viewpoint. So now, okay, stop share. Now let's go to the whiteboard and draw things out. Let me just clear out all of the, here, can I clear this all out from before? Clear everything on out. So now I have to draw stuff for you. Sorry, cheeky, I gotta go like this. There we go. She's kind of like balanced on my lap. How do we go from a tetrahedron to an octahedron? So I'll start off with tetra in blue. And when I do this, this is a 2-dimensional cross-section. But we know that this is a 3-dimensional object. Hey, are you drawing like the flag of Israel? No, I'm not drawing the flag of Israel. The flag of Israel is a homage to this, higher dimensional shape. There's a reason, like there's a esoteric reason why they chose that as their symbol. But I want you to know that this Merkaba is not only for Jewish people. It is not only for Israeli people. It is for all people. It is for all organisms. It's for the planet. Let me draw the planet. Our planet has or can have a giant Merkaba around it. Here's the planet, right? We're supposed to have one. It's a protective energy field around the planet. Okay, so wait a second. So this is basic cross-section of the shape. Okay, first let me draw. I'm trying to think how I can show you this. No, that made it too hard to see. So what I just drew was all the sides that are visible to the viewer of the downward pointing pyramid. And now let me just get a different color here. Okay, so I've kind of drawn like contour drawings, invisible X-ray shaped contour drawings. The first thing is, let's count sides, all right? So of the downward pointing one, here's side 1, side 2, side 3, and there's a side that we can't see that's facing away from the viewer, that's side 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm going to rewind, and I will count the sides of the upward pointing one, the side that faces us, 1, side that faces the right, the side that faces the left, and the side that faces the back of the sculpture that we can't see, that's 4, right? So I had 1, 2, 3, 4, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to do the same, that same counting with my magical pieces of cardboard. So remember, one of these bends into a tetrahedron shape. This one bends into a tetrahedron shape. Let's count how many sides we have. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I have 8 sides. So this is just what I'm establishing. I'm like a magician, like nothing on my sleeve, nothing on my sleeve. 8 sides. We've got 8 equilateral triangles. These are the puzzle pieces that we're working with. So over here I have these 8 equilateral triangles, and what I'm going to do is make a transformation based in perception. I'm going to add in a couple of new lines, make them in a red color, and add in this line, and add in this line, and add in this line, and add in this line. You're like, wait a minute, Rory, you said I didn't have to add or subtract anything, but you're adding in lines. I'm adding in lines just to show like contour, not actually adding in additional sides. There's still 8 of these shapes, but I have to draw it for you. So what I just did was created an octahedron out of a tetrahedron. And now I'm going to count, let's just show you what do I mean by an octahedron. Here's the front side, right? And here's another front side. So I hope that you're seeing this. Let's highlight, another side, highlight another side. Here's another side, right? And here's another side. So just like that image of either an old woman or a young woman, it's about the lines don't move, but your perception moves and changes. In order to make this higher dimensional leap from Merkaba that is spinning to octahedron that is stable and in a higher dimensional zone, it is a change of your perception. It is not a change of adding additional anything else to it. So now let me show you what an octahedron looks like. Hold on a second. We'll get there. I've used these many, many times. So I know that this works. Nope. Here we go. So I go from this shape to this shape. And notice what I'm happening. The bottom swings out and then comes up here to be part of the top. So now what I have is a shape that is just like the Great Pyramid at Giza. I'm fiddling with it to try to make it more visible on the screen for you. My tape isn't perfect. There you go. Now you can kind of see. So equilateral triangles around the side, 4 equilateral triangles around the side. But look, guys, look. Square base, square base, square base, square, square base. It's a square base. That is what the Great Pyramid at Giza looks like. And if I take the other one and I do the same maneuver, I'm taking it from the bottom comes up and swings up to the top. I was referencing that old show, Square Pegs. I don't even know if anybody knows that show. But now I have another one. I have another 4-sided, it's like a Great Pyramid at Giza. And these 2 guys go on top of each other like that. And that is called an octahedron. Let me see if I can I move this better? Here. Oh man, this is really hard to do. Boom. I think you can see what I'm talking about here. This is an octahedron. So I've not added anything. I've not taken away anything. I've rearranged the same basic puzzle pieces from being a star tetrahedron into an octahedron. And when I go back into drawing this, when I draw it for you, oops, I dropped it on the floor. This is a journey of perception. Here, go to this. First, go to here. Let me show you pictures. Already did this one. Already did this one. Let me show you some. Ooh, that was interesting. This. Aw, Cheeky seems a little bit tired. So first of all, how does the star tetrahedron shape relate to the chakras or the toroidal shape? So here, first let's do, you can see the basic star tetrahedron shape, right? I did a simplified cross section, but you know that that is a three-dimensional shape. Now let me show you, here's the singularity, right? Big red dot is the convergence point. Here's the biggest chakra, physical chakra, goes like that. I know it's a horrible drawing. You guys know I can draw a lot better than this. It's really hard on this little track tablet. And here's the other one, all right? So we have that apple core shape or that central hourglass shape that is part of the chakra shape or the torus, this yellow sculpture that I always hold up. So the torus relates to the star tetrahedron, all right? That's the first leap of understanding to make. And then here's a couple of pretty good sketches where you can see anatomically what's going on with the Merkaba. So here, we'll show you on this one first. Here's your heart. I know I'm not using a heart color, but just for anatomical placement, the downward pointing pyramid has like a convergence point over here, a pointy vertex over here. Look, I always align mine right with my heart. It points outward from my heart. And similarly, the upward pointing pyramid, here's the pointy convergence point over here, the vertex, that relates to the bottom of your spine, your butt, and reaches out from behind your butt. So when I do my spinning, my counter-rotating fields, I'm spinning this one around to the left, and I'm spinning this one around to the right. And again, I teach you the way that I do it because it feels right to me. If you want to do the opposite way, do the opposite way. Do what feels right to you. I've read that males feel more comfortable spinning in the opposite way. Do what feels right to you. And this view over here is the same exact thing. Wait. Here we go. Same exact thing. You can see, well, no, come on. You can see here, this emanates right out from the heart. So in this view, let's do that same thing, like the optical image, the old woman and the young woman. Right now, it is tetrahedron, star tetrahedron. Let's turn it into an octahedron. So we get it spinning. Well, can you see that I added that red line? I'm sorry, I'm going to drive you crazy. I'm going to move this thing apart so that you can see it better because you couldn't even see what I was doing. Draw this over here. Oh, draw a fatter line. Going to add in that line. Going to add in that line. Going to add in this line. Going to add in this line. And here, this one down here. And this one down here. Okay, so just by doing that, I have transformed this drawing from a star tetrahedron into an octahedron. And what is the experience of the experiencer? Do you sit there like with a pen and paper and draw this out in order to do this? No, that is not how you travel interdimensionally. All of this is a question of perception. Just like how do you do the flip-flop with that optical illusion? You don't move your eyeballs at all. You don't do anything with the lines on the actual page. You flip and flop your perception. So now go back to, where's that video? Where's the video? How can I make it bigger? I didn't know how to make the video bigger. Hold on a second. Let me stop share. Let me go to this. Now I'll replay this part. Okay, go back to this relevant part. I'm not sure if it's tiny on your screen. I'm sorry if it is. I don't know how do I make it bigger? Oh, I hope that I just made it bigger. I think it worked. Okay, so here, order of operations. I made the Merkaba. I envisioned it around me. I put my desires into the upper and the lower pointing pyramids. I got them spinning. They're spinning around. I feel that column of light going up my center of my spine. And then what's the final thing that I do? I do a flip-flop of perception where I rearrange the equilateral triangles into a new format. that brings me into a higher dimensional context. This is how you origami. This is how you jump from the two-dimensional flat plane into the third-dimensional reality. This is how you gain additional degrees of freedom. So I'll rewind a little bit, and then I'll show you that animation again. You're spinning, you're spinning, you're spinning, you're spinning. Hey, it doesn't look like pyramids anymore. Whoa. Because look, at first it looks like hard-edged, straight-edged objects. As you get them spinning, look at how it starts to make them look more like, almost more like a cone, like an ice cream cone shape, right? Here's that central line of light going up your spine. And then as you keep spinning, this transforms into an octahedron. And now it's not like the octahedron is spinning end over end or rotating around. That is now how you can, I keep on using that phrase, travel interdimensionally. What do I mean when I say that? It is an experience of traveling or transporting consciousness outside of time. You are outside of time. So right now we are in linear time, experiencing a linear reality, breakfast, lunch, dinner. If you want to travel outside of time, then you do the Merkaba into the octahedron, and then you can bounce around. Breakfast from 10,000 years ago, dinner from 2 million years in the past. This is how you bounce back and forth. And you can even jump around molecules. You can jump on a molecular level. You can jump your entire body. You can just jump some of your molecules back and forth. You can jump concepts or nutrients back and forth. You can get to be very creative. So wait. Okay, now questions, because I'm sure that there are questions. All right. So Lou says, Aurora, is the FRL the stage of spiritual development whereby you merge into Christ consciousness? Yes. So here, awesome. Like, yes. But, and let me say this. FRL is necessary as a tool to reconnect to Christ consciousness because we've been, like out of zone, in a cell phone dead zone for far too long, due to the genetic degradation. So we haven't been effectively connected to Christ consciousness for many millennia because our bodies, the guitars of our bodies got degraded and out of tune. Our genes got out of tune. So the reason why we have to reconnect and why we aren't all perfect musicians is because we were historically put out of tune. And then this is my tool, a tool that I share with you to retune the guitar. So this wouldn't be necessary if we all were in tune, if we all were already connected on that level of Christ consciousness. And that's what we were intended to be. That's what the original design of our experience was. So the only reason why I had to invent this was like as a fix, like a way to, a workaround for the way that things had been degraded. But big yes, in answer to your question, that is the end result. When you flying rainbow lasagna and rearrange the Rubik's Cube of your DNA, you get to reawaken dormant inner potentials and merge again with Christ consciousness that we were never supposed to be separated from, but that we've been artificially separated from. So thank you. Excellent description. I'm completely in agreement. Pedro says, how different is it when you put a Merkaba on a standing person or on another, like a pet that doesn't have a vertical spine? No difference at all. So good. This is very good. In performing a maneuver like the Merkaba, you might think, oh, I have to sit my body in a particular way. Oh, I have to move my arms and legs in a particular way. No, you have to move your mind in a particular way. Let me move these lights so you can see my face better. You have to move your mind. It is not about how you move your body or your body position or whatever, whether you're standing up straight or whether you're, like sitting in a chair. It is completely about your mind, because what we're talking about now are your imagination projection of what your body is doing in reality. So when I envision the Merkaba, I envision that my body is seated cross-legged. I envision that I have this shape moving around me. But that envisionment is happening in the world of pure imagination. This is my body in the physical realm. So I'm now adept enough that I can make a distinction. So my body in the physical realm is sitting here and my dog's on my lap, and maybe I want to do the Merkaba. So maybe I don't want to kick her off my lap, but I still want to sit and do it in that right way. I can still use my visualization capacity to visualize myself in the higher dimensional space doing that. Doesn't matter what my physical body is doing. So this is the big answer, because it is also about, hey, if you're a paraplegic, can you do the Merkaba? Hey, if you have amputated limbs, can you do the Merkaba? Hey, if you are blah, blah, blah in a limitation state, can you do the Merkaba? The answer is yes. Yes, 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 because it is not only about what your physical body is doing, and it's about what your imagination or projected non-physical body is doing. And that's also flying rainbow lasagna. So let me just drink a little bit, and then I'll tell you how I integrate Merkaba with flying rainbow lasagna, even though that's a couple of lessons ahead. But I don't want to leave this lesson without giving you like a little bit of an idea. So what my basic practice is like, I eat a lot of physical food. I'm like, my physical body is hungry. Then I get outside. It's a beautiful sunny day today. And I ingest lots of non-physical food, the sunlight in here. Then and I told you how I do that. I'm breathing it in. I'm filling up my belly down here, my hara. And then when I'm totally filled up and I'm filled up to the top and I reconnect to the sun, that's like having an orgasm with the sun. Not sharing with you too much personal information, just understand it is an ecstatic moment of divine union. And then you'll see this when you watch me do the dance on the video on dance. I start off, sometimes I use my fingers, sometimes I use my hands. I start off like this. That is my symbol of like, oh, I'm now putting the Merkaba around me. And sometimes I sit in a chair. Sometimes I don't have my legs crossed, completely. So I've been practicing for a long time. So at this point, I'm adept enough to be able to do the visualizations even if my body is in a different body posture. So that's the real answer. When I first started off, I was very formal about always crossing my legs, about always doing this, always doing this. And that was like maybe like eight or 9 years ago when I started, really mastering this. And that also reminds me of like when I first started to play the piano, I had to focus a lot more on like, where's my finger? Where's my pinky? What am I doing with this? And now I can find my chords a lot more easily. Like my fingers just go there. So this is like muscle memory. It is energetic muscle memory. So you create these patterns and these structures, and the more adept you become, the easier it is for you to just do it. I want to snap my fingers fast. I don't want to wake her up. And also, so like I can be driving my car and I'm like, oh, I got to do the Merkaba. Like there's some crazy traffic thing happening. Merkaba. I just do it. I don't even have to make the motion with my hands at this point. And for me, it feels like I'm putting shields up. And what it also feels like I told you, one of the sensations you can feel for is putting that column of light up and down your spine. And it also feels to me like a cascade of energy that comes down my body that is fast. And that is like a blockade. And I'll be like, oh, Merkaba, shields up. And it feels like, and then I have integrity from my context. Sometimes I do shields up because there's like crazy homeless people. We got some of them in our town. And you see them kind of like walking down the sidewalk. And it's like, oh, shields up. Like we're going to have to, this is like, I'm not whatever, like racist against homeless people. It is like, you can tell when people are like shambling, drug addicted zombies. They're like, oh, okay, that's that energy. So yeah, it's like if there's a bad smell in the environment, if there's something that you don't want to come inside of you, shields up. When I have to go to a big box store, if I do my shopping or whatever, it's like, oh, shields up. I do Merkaba as protection also. Oh, so here are some different ways that you can use it very effectively in your life. I use it for before I get in my car, and I would encourage everyone to do this. Every time you get on the highway, there's a possibility that you can get smashed by a Mack truck or whatever. You can die anytime you get in your car. Like this is one of the most insane things about the society that we're in. And you can't walk every place. I got to drive to the supermarket at least once a week to get fresh food and groceries, okay? So what I do is, before I go out to the store, using my paintbrush of my mind, I place a Merkaba protective energy field around my car. And I imagine it maintains around my car while I drive my little route down to where I go to the store, do my different shoppings, and then return and come back. And I visualize this. And so this is like in a higher dimensional realm, putting that program, that mental program out there of going to the store and returning home happily and safely. And I would encourage all of us to do this. Like this is like learning ABCs and 1, 2, 3s as a little tiny child in Atlantis. Reality creation. How do we all safely navigate the world? None of us want to wake up in the morning and say, today is the day I'm going to die horribly in a car accident. No, none of us want to do that. So this is like, how do we begin to, like we're like little children that are toddlers, learning how to walk. I'm learning how to walk. I'm using my Merkaba. The first thing is, use your Merkaba to protect yourself, from unwanted intrusions, from unwanted accidents. And I also place Merkabim around my home. around the perimeter of my property. If I go to sleep at night, it's like, whoop, shields up, like blocking out any crapola. I do a Merkaba around my bed, like shields up. No crapola comes inside of here while I'm trying to sleep. Be creative. Use your own techniques, because the more that you personalize it, the more powerful it becomes. And also, so it's like learning music, it's cumulative skill. And I'll tell you, I have funny stories about when I first started doing Merkaba back in Woodstock. So one of the good ones is, I was still learning about how to manifest, and I didn't know what it took to imagine something and then see it in reality. And I was sitting in meditation, and I did the Merkaba, and I did this. And then afterwards, when I completed, I went out and I walked past the local coffee shop, and there was very prominently displayed like this little chocolate bar that had all the patterns that I paint on the wrapper of the chocolate bar. And I was like, that didn't used to be there before. So it was a very clear thumbs up from the cosmos. Like the music of the world was going like this. Then you did your Merkaba, rearranged reality, and then the music of the world changed and did like this. And if your eyes are open, you can be perceptive and be like, now I'm going to see the way that things change. So it's similar to FRL, but not exactly FRL. So when I do my flying rainbow lasagna practice, eat a bunch of physical food, do a bunch of sun gazing, do the Merkaba, and begin to protect myself and travel interdimensionally. And then from that vantage point, I then begin to do this hopping in and out of reality and rearrangement on the genetic level. So I combine the two things, and I want you to know that there's no prescription against that. Like you're allowed to mix and match patterns in this whatever fashion. You're allowed to. It's like you don't have to wear a suit that's all pinstripes. You can be like, well, some pinstripes, some plaid, but throw in some of this. Like you can jazz it up. Question from Pedro. Okay, good. So you can put a Merkaba on a dog. Dogs don't have a straight spine like humans do, and they do have energies on a cat. You can put a Merkaba on a microbe. You can put a Merkaba on an atom. You can put a Merkaba on a photon, and I do that. So you can reach greater and greater levels of virtuosity the more that you practice with it. Dan's is going to sleep. Good. Thank you, and catch the archive when you want to. Nita, lovely to see you. And I think you are a new student, so thank you and welcome. Wonderful. Oh my goodness. Nita says that she has no audio. So if you want to speak, if you hover your cursor at the bottom of your screen, there's both mute and stop video. If you want to speak and say something, you can do that. But if you have no audio, like if you cannot listen, that is a big problem. So I don't know if you have audio settings that you can change on your computer. Some person had to log out and log back in order to get their audio to work one day. So I don't know if that's what's needed. Okay, so I think that I did. So when you're looking looking at things, how can I describe this? Like an octahedron, it's like you're looking through the crystal. If we go back to this animation. Here at the end, when it turns into the octahedron, I want you to imagine like these new lines that show up. Now it's almost like you're in a crystal and you are looking through the faces of the crystal, and that is how you're able to see this area here where I'm covering my cursor, and this area here, like you're looking through the faces of the clear crystal. So it's almost this flip-flop in perception is almost like the difference between looking at and looking through. And if you ever did those magic eye, I'm going to leave this image up actually for a moment while I talk about this. Magic eye optical illusions, where it looks like a wallpaper and you're looking at it and it's like you're looking at the surface and it's flat. But the change in your perception is when you stop looking at it like it's a flat wall and you start to look through it like it is a window of something going into the distance. And if you can imagine a similar level of perception, flip-flop and change is happening when you're doing this maneuver between star tetrahedron to octahedron. You stop looking at the surface and you start looking at it as if it has depth. So all of this, because I've spoken in the past couple of weeks about duality, that we're using flying rainbow lasagna in order to transcend duality, and how a lot of duality is hardwired in our biological system of perception, I versus I, giving us a sense of depth in reality. And so this is learning to use that hardwired perception in order to get into the next highest dimension. You are moving beyond the limitations of seeing something like a flat surface because you add the dimension, the additional dimension with your mind, with your system of interpretation. This is very big. This goes back to the invention of perspective. Let me write this out too. This comes from, maybe a little bit before Newton, around the same time that Newton was in existence, the Renaissance. Before the Renaissance, here, let me clear this out. What they used to, all of the paintings that were painted were like flat. They were icons. Here, let me draw a painting. So if we were going to say, here's a painting, and then, here's a person, right? And it's just a person, and that's all. And it doesn't have depth or anything like that. In fact, a lot of the time, noses were drawn like this, like it didn't look like an actual face. Then, the Renaissance came along and perspective was created. And that means that as we're looking at this square, I'm not asking you to just look at the surface. I'm asking you to look through it as if it is a window. So all of a sudden, oh, look at this. I just made a horizon line. Here, here's the sun in the background of the painting, right? Here's the background, and here's like some mountains here, and here's a road that goes off into the distance that goes to the sun. So, what I just drew over here, if you looked at it without understanding perspective, you'd say, oh, that's a strange, like a Chinese hieroglyphic. No, it's not a hieroglyphic. It's a landscape. Here's the, the horizon. I know it's a very hastily drawn landscape. Here's the sun, and here's the mountains. This is a convention to us. We're used to, like, little kids draw drawings that look like this. Like, we're used to understanding the world in this way. To contrast, it's different than, let's say, the Australian indigenous Aborigine people, that they will make like a dot like this, and a dot like this, and a dot like this, and that is meant to signify time. Like, oh, first this happened, then this happened, then this happened. That does not signify depth. It's not like, oh, this one is further away because it's tinier. It happened in time. So these are different cultural conventions. Perspective, this tool for showing depth is a cultural convention, a way that we have been taught to interpret reality. So even like if I go back to my face, my room that I'm in, you're looking at a flat screen, but look at the angles of the way that my ceiling goes, and you look into my room as if it is a place that has depth. You don't look at my screen as if it is merely a flat place. So this is normal for us. We're used to this. We little children look at screens from the time they grow up, and we understand you're supposed to look through the screen, not just at the surface. But that was a major transformation in human perception that happened around the time of the Renaissance. Before the invention of perspective, we looked at the surface of things. Then we had to be told, look beyond the surface. And now we all do it as a matter of course. Same exact thing with Merkaba. Start tetrahedron into octahedron. The flip-flop is a flip-flop of perception. Don't just look and interpret the surface. Look through and interpret this as if you are looking through a window. That's how you jump off the hamster wheel. Good. I feel like these are long recordings, and I thank you for being with me on the journey, because I think that I got through everything that I needed to get through. It takes a lot of flapping up and moving mouth parts. Alvaroni, Nita, good, thank you. Good, I'm happy that you figured out the sound. And yes, you're talking about stereograms. That's exactly right. If there are any more questions, I'll make sure to get to questions while I've got the recording going. If not, I'll stop the recording so that it's not too long of an upload. So I'll just give everyone another moment or so. I know, and you know something? I recognize this is a lot. Like, I dump a lot of nutritive lasagna on your plate. And then it's like, okay, like what? Don't worry. It takes time to digest. You digest it, and it might not immediately make sense, but it does make sense. And all of these lessons are cumulative. So everything that I talk about each week in both of the levels, they add up. Just like we're learning one motif, we're learning one melody, then we learn the next part of the melody, and then it all fits together. So I want to reaffirm to everyone, like, don't worry if you don't understand everything immediately, intuitively, 100% all at once. It is cumulative, and it does make sense. So Teddy is saying it's slowly sinking in. That is good. That is good. Brandon, smart. Fist says full serving of lasagna today. Yes, digestion needed. Good. I'm happy that you recognize that. Yeah, so let me end the recording for right now. And thank you so much to everybody who tunes in on a regular basis. And I get wonderful comments in YouTube also. So thank you for the thoughtful and wonderful comment. Oh, and it looks like Jen, is your birthday. So happy birthday. It's your birthday. Happy birthday to you. Thank you. Have a wonderful everything. I'm just going to end the recording.